very good evening, Mr. Utpal Chakrabarti. It is a pleasure and honor to have you as part of this talk show. How are you doing?
Very good evening. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you. Mr. Utpal is a AI leader in one of the leading banks in India, as well as he has spent 20 years in the field of software architecture, as well as artificial intelligence and data science across companies like IBM, Capgemini, L&T, and so forth. Mr. Utpal, uh, for our young viewers, people who are interested in the field of data science and artificial intelligence, one of the key questions that keep coming to people's mind is that banking and financial industry is one of the key hiring industry in the world of artificial intelligence and data science. So we wanted to understand what are the major use cases and what benefits does the BFSI industry gets out of data science and AI. If you can enlighten some thoughts onto it, that will be great.
Okay. Well, probably I'll answer the second part of the question first, and then I will go to the first part. You said what are the benefits or why banking and finance industry are using technologies like machine learning, deep learning, and all. so actually, banks and financial institutions they cannot avoid AI because of two reasons. Number one, they are into data intensive business. So whoever is in a data intensive business, they will have to adopt AI today or tomorrow. Okay,
Okay.
because with AI, they can churn out their data and get meaningful insights from those data, and also it will help them in their decision making, building their strategies and all those things. So that is number one, and that's the reason every financial institution and banks they are using artificial intelligence, machine learning, not only in abroad but also in India extensively. Okay, and these uses are going to be, or the adoption is going to be more and more in coming years.
Okay.
Number two, so now today if you look at your data is your gold mine, right? So you can actually do a very personalized and very targeted what do you call recommendation to your users.
Yeah.
If you know their behavior uh, and their what do you call, I mean their financial status, probably their likings, dislikings, and all those things. So those can be easily churn out from the data that you have for your customers. Like probably you have a customer 360 degree view. You want to have a customer 360 degree view. So in that case, if you have the data from, if you can collect those data from different sources, and if you can run machine learning model on top of that, then definitely you can do a very fine-tuned kind of personalized
Okay.
recommendation of your products and services to your customer, and that is the need of the day today. So these are the main reasons. There are other reasons also why the banks and financial institutions are so excited about technologies like machine learning and all.
Okay.
Now coming to the use cases, there are many use cases. Okay, so we can probably start with very simple and known use cases like your chatbots. Okay,
Yeah.
so nowadays chatbots are very hot. Okay, and it is not only chatbots. So it is kind of a conversational AI, okay,
Yeah.
or conversational banking. So it could be chatbot, it could be your WhatsApp banking, it could be your voice banking in Alexa, Google Home, or somewhere. So these are some of the channels wherein actually you can render your banking services, and you can give your customers benefit of using those kind of services in any of those devices in a very seamless manner. So you can provide essentially the transactions. It's
Okay.
not only the Q&A or question and answers kind of thing, but the real transactions. So essentially, you can send money, you can book your fixed deposit, you can book your recurrent deposit, you can take a loan, you can pay all your electricity bills through this digital channel. And
So are you
now,
saying that with conversational AI, we will actually not be using our smartphones as well, or smartphone keyboards or computer keyboards? They'll just be talking to banking systems, and they will do things that we want them to do.
Absolutely. So those are the days coming, and definitely it will be more like a interactive kind of a banking with any of the apps or systems rather than typing or giving your password. This, I don't know. So all these things will be taken care of the background. So this is one hot area, and as you know, I mean after this COVID and lockdown and all, many of the banks they want to render more and more services into their digital channels. Okay, so they have got a huge focus on the digital channel, and a technology like AI, machine learning can help them rendering their services into digital channels and provide those to their customers. So that is one thing. Then there are other known use cases like in what do you call insurance. Fraud detection is one. Absolutely, that is fraud detection is one. Then you can actually find out what do you call whether if, you can give a loan to the customer or not. Okay.
Probability of default.
Probability of default. Absolutely. So these are some of the credit risk assessment basically right. Before giving a credit. Okay, so you can assess the risk of that. These are some of the use cases, and there are many use cases basically which are hidden use cases. Okay, so probably there are machine learning models which can make your enterprise banking system much more intelligent. Okay, so probably it is not a completely AI based kind of a system, but you can integrate those AI elements into your machine learning into your enterprise applications, okay, to make them more and more smarter, which is called basically the embedded AI.
Okay.
Then in the areas of probably if you want to do a lot of optimization in your process, okay, internal processes. Okay. So once your internal processes are optimized, then only you will be able to serve your customers better, right? So in that way. You can have many AI applications. Not only AI, I think AI RPA is a mixture of both, okay. And you can make your internal processes much more efficient, so that you can actually serve your customer better. And there also your cognitive elements using AI machine learning is going to help. Okay. So these are some very high level and what do you call known use cases. But apart from that, also there are many things people are building, like for signature verification in a check, automatically processing the check. Okay, those systems are there. Then there are systems for loan processing. There are systems for claims processing. Yeah. Okay, so one of the very good example I was fortunate to work in my previous organization was cognitive claim. Okay, so in that cognitive claim processing. So in that application, so suppose somebody meet with an accident with his or her car, and they can just take a couple of pictures of the damaged car, okay, and automatically with deep learning model, it will process and it will see how much damage has been done into the car, okay, and whether the damage has gone till the engine or it is only on the outside periphery of the car, and it can automatically recommend that this much damage is done, and it will go to the insurance company, and the insurance company will see. I mean, if there is a threshold limit, okay, if it is within the threshold limit, then within 2 minutes you will get the claim settled. Okay, so no need to stand your car somewhere in the road itself, okay, and then call the insurance guy. He will come, he will take photographs of that, and then he will take 1.5 months to give you your claim amount settled. It is not like that. So within 2 minutes, I will just take a couple of photographs of your damaged car. It will automatically process. It knows whether the damage has been done in the plastic part or in the metal, whether the impact has gone into the engine or not, and it will process and it will give you the money within 2 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So this is the beauty of AI. Yeah.
Yeah. So one question, I had a follow-up question on this. So it means there are variety of skilled people that you would require in the BFSI industry to implement all these things, conversational AI, or risk analytics, or making the processes smarter. So what kind of skilled people that BFSI industry looks for in this domain?
Yeah, so data science is one part of the story. So definitely you require data scientists, okay,
Yeah.
who are having different, again, within data science area also there are different skills. So
Yeah.
some people may be very good at NLP, natural language processing, okay,
Okay.
and those are required basically in high demand for building any kind of conversational engine or conversational AI or any kind of chatbots or any kind of. There are many applications of NLP. It's not only conversational, but even for the text processing,
Yeah.
okay, or text to speech,
Please.
speech to text. So NLP has a wide range of applications and wide range of uses into different fields. Somebody probably is good at machine learning, okay, so vanilla machine learning, statistical models. Okay,
Okay.
somebody good at R. So probably they are good for doing any kind of predictive analytics or prescriptive analytics with some predictive tools, some visualization tools like Tableau and all, and having a good hold on R or Python or scikit-learn kind of thing. But if you go to a little bit of in the higher end, then the deep learning is in extensive use nowadays today. So deep
Like
learning using
CNN,
neural.
ANN,
Right,
RNN.
exactly. Absolutely. So deep learning using neural networks, as you rightly mentioned, CNN, RNN, LSTM, and all other variants of neural networks. And they basically do the high-end work. So if you want to do something which is a little bit out of the box and which you don't have a solution, or neither you have the luxury to call an API and do your work, you have to develop your work. So there you definitely require somebody who has got a good hold on deep learning. So this is only the data science part. Then coming to while building any application, in fact, not only in banking and finance, you go to any domain. So domain expertise is very, very important. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, without the help of the domain experts,
Very
who are like they understand technology also a little bit, and a very expert on their domain. So without the help of them, you will definitely not be able to build a good AI solution. Okay?
makes sense.
So a lot of domain knowledge goes into any of the AI applications that we build. So that is another set of people that you definitely require. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then probably you require people from different other areas also sometimes. So that again depends on the application to application.
Okay, very good. Wanted to ask one more question around this. You said that domain understanding is very, very important. So if I were to ask you, Mr. Utpal, would you hire a banker who has spent a lot of time in banking industry, maybe in credit operation, maybe in marketing operation, maybe in various different types of operation within banking, and have learned data science and AI, and then coming to an interview? Or would you like to hire somebody who comes with a computer science background or a deeper AI and data science background, and have learned something about banking? What kind of a preference would you give to whom? Somebody
So
who
I
comes with
think
the domain
the
and
first
then learn. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the first option, getting that kind of people is very difficult. Okay,
Yeah.
so you will not get somebody who is an expert in banking and then he has come to AI and learned AI and all this. It's not. Practically very less, probably very less resources are there in the market, because again AI
It's
itself
very
is
new.
exactly. So you require expertise on one area. So probably say, yeah. So but having said that, if you have some domain knowledge, okay, may it be banking or may it be any other field, it will always be an added advantage.
Okay.
But data scientists are data scientists, so they are good at building the model, tuning the model, play with the data, understand how it is working, okay, and kind of thing. So that much you can expect from a data scientist. But a data scientist who has already worked in some other banking projects and he has got extensive experience on that particular domain, you will be very lucky if you get those kind of person. Yeah. Otherwise, what happens like so IT companies, okay? So normal IT service companies, if they want to build, so if they get a project, okay, from a bank or from probably one insurance company, and if they want to build that application, what normally they do is like they will be hiring some people who are good at domain only.
Okay.
Okay, so some banking people, and those people will be working very closely with the data scientists to
Okay.
actually build the product.
So
Yeah.
then they
So
build a,
that's what it.
they build a team like that, that there are domain experts as well as data science experts.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Makes sense. One more question here. You mentioned various technologies are required in order to make uh, all these processes and things that we do in BFSI industry cognitive or AI driven, right? So, what are the other digital technologies that you think are going to be are very critical for making this happen? You know, for example, IoT, RPA. What are the other digital technologies that you think which are very interlinked with data science and AI in BFSI?
Yeah, so you rightly say it. I mean, so it is not just one technology. So while you are trying to solve a business problem, bigger business problem, so probably you will have to use multiple technologies here. Uh, and as you rightly said, like IoT is one part. Okay, so if you are really getting the data from some IoT devices or getting things from some IoT devices, then definitely you need people who have a good understanding of IoT. Then data is one area which is very closely linked with AI. So somebody who has got a good knowledge of the Hadoop ecosystem,
Okay.
distributed database ecosystem, big data kind of a thing, that will be an added advantage. And then there are like RPA people are also required. Okay, so robotic process automation. So if you want to use some, so because from my experience, I have seen in my previous organizations wherein we were doing bigger projects. Okay, like in banks, the projects are mediocre or mid-size,
Right.
you can say, but in other domains, the projects are very very big projects. So they are actually you end up doing a lot of technologies to deliver the project. So RPA will be there, AI will be there, IoT part is there. Okay, and uh, then probably uh, you need somebody who has got a very good understanding of cloud. Okay, because
No.
nowadays you will be using cloud platforms rather than going for on-premise. So somebody who is having a good exposure into cloud and different cognitive services available in the cloud and how we can leverage that kind of thing. So yeah, so these are some of the things, and futuristically probably tomorrow quantum is going to come. Okay, because now in healthcare and all, so many people are using. I mean, people have started using quantum computing, although the use cases are very, very critical use cases. And now, at this point of time, I mean, quantum computing is not that popular, and it has got some challenges
Yeah.
of its own. But tomorrow, quantum is going to come. So, in coming 3-4 years, definitely you will see. And the AI and quantum combination is a great combination.
Mhm.
I mean, you can quantum can give you that speed, okay, which is tremendous. Okay? And
The
AI
speed.
actually requires that, yeah, and AI actually requires that speed,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So that's going to be a great combination in coming years.
So
Uh,
that will
yeah,
actually make it all the conversation very real time, all the actions very real time.
absolutely.
If
And
quantum and
optimization,
AI can, yeah,
yeah. And see, most of the you go to any industry, there are critical problems which are related to optimization, the real optimization. So whether it is in the field of trading, whether it is in the field of aviation, whether it is in the field of logistics, okay, so there are very, very complex optimization problems, okay,
right.
which today even a supercomputer cannot solve that in real time, okay. But quantum is promising that it will be definitely able to solve some of the very critical optimization problems very soon. Okay, and it has already been proved in a couple of areas, and in dark research and all other things, they are already using that. Even in aviation also, they have started using this thing. So now, right now it is very costly also
Yeah.
these services, and plus I mean the quantum it has got some fundamental limitations,
Yeah.
and I think scientists are trying to resolve it as soon as possible. But I think I'm as a futurist or a technologist, so I'm pretty confident that in coming 3 to 5 years, there will be huge application of AI and quantum combination.
Okay, great, great. Good to hear that, because that will bring tremendous speed to AI decisions, and that amazingly increases the adoption as well as improves the experience of using these technologies. Great. One last question here. So I know you said, right. I mean, when you are hiring somebody for in BFSI, then if somebody has a domain understanding and then AI understanding as well, or data science understanding, that's the best combination. But let's say somebody who's very, very young, right, and aspires to get into BFSI industry, but as in the data role, right? So what do you think? Where are the most opportunities do you see for a young data aspirant to get into BFSI industry, especially in the field of AI and data science? I know we spoke about a lot of use cases, but what are the most easy to get use cases for any young aspirant?
No, I think it is not use case wise.
Okay.
Rather, it is like, see, in a team, okay, for delivering any kind of project, you require a mix of different kind of what do you call experiences, right? So you require developers who will be doing coding. Then you require architects, okay, who will be basically because ultimately it's an application, right? So I mean, AI is not something very discrete or something isolated. Okay, so it will be part of some application. Then you will require somebody who is a data engineer. Okay, so who is basically playing with big data systems and all those things. Okay? So and the experience range also, you require people of different experience range, right? So probably some people will be working as a core developer who are in the range of 3 to 5 years experience, and there will be senior developers who will be developing some critical components. Okay? So their experience could range from 5 to 10 years or something like that. There will be experienced architects and all. So I think for young aspirants, I think knowing the subject is very, very important. Okay, so rather than trying to know many things at a time, okay, that will not make them give them the expertise, right? So rather than that, it is better to concentrate on so somebody on NLP or machine learning or something. Because this I mean, this field itself is a complete subject, okay? And you need to understand it well. So that you can actually build your career on that. Okay. So and that is what we are also expecting. So anywhere, so not only in our case, but in any organization we go, while hiring, they will look at, okay, I am hiring this particular person. What could be the job profile of this person? So probably for a developer, they are expecting that he should know Python very well, okay, or whatever packages are available, whether it is scikit-learn or TensorFlow. He should know it very well. He should understand the different models very well. He should be able to tune the models. He should know to slice and dice the data. So he should have some understanding of data and all those things. So this is kind of thing. And there will be some people who are mixed. I mean, they know data science as well as they know mobility, probably. Okay, because many of the applications will go into mobile devices. Okay, so they can interface and they can kind of do that. So it's I think it's a mixture of all. And I think nobody expects a very junior guy to know the domain, the machine learning, the coding, as well as the architecting. No, it is not like that. So that's why the team is always a mixture of junior and senior people.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Mr. Utpal, for great insights on the BFSI industry and how AI and data science is impacting.